I'll find valid in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky.
Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we are going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag, which is exactly like it sounds. You just kind of talk about what you've read so far and what you plan to read, your best, your worst. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get started, but I cannot believe we're halfway through this year. Like, time is flying, which is a good thing because we need to get through it this year. Okay, some really disgusting things have happened. There have been some positives, but this year is just wow. Question number 1 is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2020? And for me, that would be The Other Misses by Mary Kubica. And this one follows a married couple who move from Chicago to, I want to say Maine, I think it was, because the husband's sister passes away but leaves the house to them, and they also have custody now of their niece, who is a teenager, and she's super difficult to deal with. But then there's a murder, and they live on a teeny tiny island, like right outside of Maine. There's a murder 2 houses down, and everyone suspects her, and then they suspect the husband, and it's just crazy. But the ending, the twist I should say, wow, I honestly was just shocked. I kind of knew early on, there was a couple of hints sort of about what was going to happen, but the twist is still, like, it was so crazy that it really just, I can't even talk. So, but it still surprised me, even though I had an idea or a guess about what had happened. The twist, the surprise, really just took it up like 20 notches. I was like, what just happened? Yeah, it was crazy, and I still think about that book. I loved it. The best sequel I've read so far this year, and that would be The White Princess by Philippa Gregory, and that is, it's a historical fiction about the Queen Elizabeth and Tudor times, and I am just really into that. So it's just a continuation of their story, and I love that book. I love that series, and if you like historical fiction, you should definitely give Philippa Gregory a try because she writes so beautifully, and a lot of her stuff does have truth to it. Of course, it's fiction, so like, she has no idea what these people were thinking, so she kind of has some creative input, but it's still pretty accurate most of the time. A new release that you haven't read yet but you want to, and that would be What Lies Between Us by John Mars. And this one follows 2 females who live in the same house. Every other night, one of them lets the other one out from the attic where she's locked up due to something she did that she's being punished for. And of course, the description implies that both may have secrets, some bigger than others. That one just came out in May, but I really do want to read it. I have been just loving thrillers lately. Most anticipated release for the second half of the book, that is Burn by Patrick Ness. And this one follows a poor family in the Pacific Northwest. They live in a world where dragons exist, but they usually keep to themselves. Some of them will come down and work with humans. And this family gets a dragon to help with their farm, and it just sounds so interesting. And Peruse Project, Reagan from Peruse Project, just read the arc of it and said it was so good, and it sounds like a really nice mix of fantasy and real life situations, you know, like a poor farm, you're trying to keep ahead, and then you bring in a dragon. That just sounds really cool to me, so I'm gonna give it a go. My biggest disappointment of 2020. You guys know this, okay? I'm really sorry, but Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas was a flop for me. And you guys know I love Sarah J. Maas. I have her A Court of Thorns and Roses series. It's one of my favorite series in the world. I just checked out Throne of Glass to start that series. For me, I just didn't connect with these characters, which seems strange because, like, I felt connected to High Fae, but not these. Okay, there were parts in the book though where I was really interested in what was happening, but the love story just seemed forced almost. I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't impressed. I gave it 2 stars. I know a lot of people are raving about it. I just wasn't that impressed with it. The biggest surprise for me this year was Heart of the Matter by Emily Giffin, and if I'm being honest, I picked this up because it was part of a challenge for Medievalathon in May to read a book with your favorite color on the cover. You guys may have seen my TBR. I said I was going to read the Bone Season, was it the Bone Season? A Samantha Shannon book, but I just wasn't feeling it. I wanted contemporary instead of fantasy for whatever reason. I was just in the mood for it, and this was the only one I could find. And it sounded like interesting, but I was, you know, I didn't expect to enjoy it. But wow, I actually loved this book, and I literally read it in like 12 hours. I stayed up all night almost reading it, and it was just incredible. It touched me. Okay, hold on, let me rephrase that. It really got me emotionally, because I don't know, I read a lot of fantasy. You guys know that I love fantasy, but when I do read contemporary, I think it does hit differently, because it could be real. Like this could be real life to me. Obviously dragons and that kind of stuff doesn't really happen, and if it does and someone's hiding it from me, I need to know, because I want to see that too. But this one is really good. It like really touches on marriage, fidelity, love, and stuff like that. And can you love one person, multiple people? It does have infidelity in it, you know, and it was such a good book. I really felt for the wife, but then in some ways I felt for the quote-unquote other woman. It's just crazy, and there was kids involved. That's probably why I love it, because they had families. But anyways, if you ever want a heartbreak, go ahead and pick this book up. It's good. My favorite new author is Lauren Oliver, which surprised me a little bit. I picked up Delirium by her for a reading challenge. I ended up loving that book. It was about a world where love is considered a delirium, an illness. So they give everyone these vaccines when they turn 18. You can't get them before 18 because it could kill you or do something to your brain. And it affects motherhood as well. Like, you still take care of your offspring, but you don't love them like we love our children. Like, you literally just like are indifferent to other human beings. You don't show affection, and they have raids sometimes where if they like walk down the street and they see you hugging, kissing, dancing, doing anything that shows true affection for somebody, you can get arrested and killed and stuff. But that book really caught me by surprise, and the ending absolutely just tore my heart out and stomped on it. So I wasn't expecting that. So then I read the second book in that series, and it was good too. It wasn't as good as the first, but it was good. And then I also read Vanishing Girls by Lauren Oliver last month in May, I should say, for the same Medievalathon challenge. And it was supposed to be a read a book that you think is 5 stars. This ended up being a 4-star, but it was still really good. So it's safe to say I think that I love Lauren Oliver now. My newest fictional crush, that would be Sebastian from Bringing Down the Duke. It's a Regency romance, you know, set back in the 1800s. And I know women, when they couldn't vote, they couldn't make decisions on their own really, but there's something about courting and like, you know, gently going into a relationship that intrigues me, and I adore it. Like the way they used to have relationships. I don't know, I sound like a boomer, but I just love Sebastian, the way he treated her. He was a gentleman most of the time. Like in the beginning he was kind of an asshole, but other than that he was mostly a gentleman, and he was funny, and I love that book, and I love Sebastian. Book that made you cry. None. I haven't cried yet this year, so. Oh, a book that made you happy. I didn't even fill that one out. I would probably say Delirium also, actually, because that book made me really happy until the end. So Delirium by Lauren Oliver would be my answer for the book that made me happy. My newest favorite character is actually a surprise. It is Amy Byler from The Overdue Life of Amy Byler, because she finds herself literally and is coming to terms with a divorce and finding new love and being a mom to her children and trying to be enough when their dad wasn't there, and then letting him come back in and take responsibility. She doesn't want Yeah, it's just really touching. That one got me too. I love Amy Byler. She's a strong woman. Books that you still need to read this year. There's a lot of them. I just found a few on my Goodreads to list because they're ones that I'm really interested in. I would like to read Dry by Neil Shusterman, Fractured Tide by Leslie Lutz, which comes out this month. I would like to continue the Harry Potter illustrated versions. I don't have the third one. And I had to turn it in right as libraries were closing because they weren't renewing, and I'm just really sad about it. So hopefully by the end of this year I can get that back from the library and read it, because I own the fourth one. I'm just missing the third. I also want to read Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. That one comes out this fall. I love her. I love the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. It is so good. So I cannot wait to read that. Most beautiful book you bought or received this year, and I actually have a series I'm going to show you. For that one, it is the Cinder. I don't know if they're special edition, but they are gorgeous. We got this from, where did we get this from? Not Book Outlet. Books of Wonder maybe? I'm not sure where we got it from, but there's Cinder and Scarlet and Cress. Cress is my favorite, actually. Not only in the looks. Let me show you the inside, actually, because if you've read the series, you know who the characters are, you know. There is Thornwell. Wait, yeah. Captain Thorn and Cress. Ugh, I love them. And then, of course, Winter. Those are the most beautiful books I've gotten this year. So that is it for the mid-year book Freakout tag. I've done it all but 1 year, I want to say, or 2. I don't know. I've done it at least 3 years now. Let me know in the comments what you guys are reading recently, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars.